Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing another video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and I want to talk about reality with emphasis on the ongoing dispute of truth and what it represents, what it means as a symbol, and how you can detect it really in a few minutes. So, reality is one of those things that a lot of people think about when they're young. Most of us do, and very few people actually figure it out, it seems like. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the vast majority of people I talk to have confusion about it. They're not clear about what the word means. If anything, they reached a point where they just couldn't process the idea anymore, and they kind of like put it on the back burner or dismissed it entirely. Some people do that. They become what I call nihilists, who dispute the actual existence of truth itself, and they take on a belief of degrees of truth. Have you heard this? Degrees of truth? Well, my experience with analyzing these ideas is a little bit different. It could be from my experience in programming computers, but I have discovered something about truth and reality, and I want to describe my understanding in this video if anybody's still thinking about it and curious about it. But briefly, on the subject of degrees of truth, it's an unfortunate situation where a person decides to abandon their belief in truth and decides basically that everything's a matter of opinion because they confuse symbols with reality. It is confusion. It's a type of I don't want to call it a mental disorder, but it borders on that. And in some cases, the outcome is the same: behavior problems, pathological lying and cheating, manipulation, because a person has lost touch with reality. So, what is reality? What is the question is begged? What is in fact reality? Well, it starts with truth, right? Truth is not the symbol, because the symbol is a proxy to something. Truth is the reality behind the symbol. It's the event, the actual thing that happened, whatever it was, the existence of some phenomena or condition or thing that doesn't change whether you agree with it or believe in it or not. It's apart from your analysis. It's apart from communication, and it's objective. The one word for this is objective. It means it's common between people, and you can look at it from different sides. But just because it can be described differently doesn't mean that it is different each time it is described. So truth is that thing, whatever it is, before it is described, before it is communicated, before it is reduced to a collection of symbols like words and paragraphs. The thing itself doesn't care about how you describe it necessarily. It remains, and that is the truth. So the truth isn't found in degrees. It's true or not. It's either accurate or it's not. And the unfortunate pitfall is that when people confuse the symbols for the real thing, like a picture of a person for an actual person, that kind of thing, there's an opportunity, unfortunately, for them to reinterpret, redirect the meaning of it. And this is has become an entire new branch of malicious psychology that I'm seeing around, where people will abuse symbols in a pointed, intentional way. They will try to impose themselves as a middle person and reinterpret things in their own words, changing the meanings as much as is believable, making it completely inaccurate, but to their own benefit. It's kind of a big exploit, actually. And I think that the scariest part of AI, as an aside, is that it is very good at this stuff. It deals entirely with symbols and tokens and circular definitions, because it's all data driven, right? The meaning of one symbol hinges on the meaning of another symbol, and it does eventually go in a circle. But I digress. So reality, the question of what is reality? It is the sum total of all truth. What is truth? It is the objective things that exist, whether you like it or not. Whether you agree with it or believe in it, they persist nonetheless. And reality is just all of the things in the entire universe that are true combined. And it's interesting. It's interesting that people are still confused about this. And I hear it all the time that my reality is different from your reality. And it is possible to say that and mean something valid, but usually people are confused. The way that you might mean that legitimately is if you're using the word reality to describe a perspective. That's okay. You're allowed to use whatever words to communicate that you like, but this is why people are confused, because one perspective is allowed to differ from another perspective. You expect it, right? It's supposed to be different. If we're looking at the same thing from different vantage points, our stories are going to be different. And this is where people kind of go off the rails. They say, well, we can't get a straight story out of two people, so we're just going to assume that reality doesn't exist. It's all a matter of opinion. There are no facts. There are no measurements or accuracy, and that should just seem wrong. It should seem very wrong that there is no accuracy. Accuracy is impossible. Is another way to say that truth is found in degrees. I assure you, accuracy is possible. It's possible to communicate sincerely with an earnest intent to be understood, and that is what is meant by telling the truth. Telling the truth and actual truth by itself are two different things. Telling the truth means aiming to be understood and to reflect to the best of your ability the subject in question and all of its relevancies. That is, not to omit things, right? And here's another exploit that people take advantage of. Oh, well, how can I possibly say everything? Well, you don't have to say everything. Nobody expects you to say everything, but you are expected to not omit important, relevant details, right? And come on, you know this. If you let someone think something that isn't true and you just go right on with business as usual, knowing what they thought and omitting something important, that's no different than telling them a lie directly. It's called a lie of omission, actually. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great day. Reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.